Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bronwyn Stevens-Harding. I'm the Director of Rogue Opera, and welcome to Livestream number 9. It's amazing that we are now in June and we're at number 9. Thank you so much to everybody who keeps watching each week. Thank you everyone, as I said, who shares, who watches, everyone who has donated so far. Can't tell you how much that means to us. It's enabled us to pay our wonderful, wonderful artists, our singers, our music director, our creative team, a little bit of income during this time of crisis. And if you can continue to share that donation link as well, we'd be really grateful for anything that people can spare in this really difficult time as we continue to try this brand new world of online opera performance. So we have a jam-packed session for you today. We had a slight technical meltdown last night when one of our wonderful singers, Eleanor James, I couldn't get her sound and video to sync the way I needed them to. Her wonderful husband, Chris Rowe, has jumped in at the last minute and has fixed that. In the meantime, I'd prepared another thing from Eleanor, which is the flower duet, which I get to sing with her. So now that we've got everything working, you're going to get both of those today. So you're going to get a lovely duet with me and Eleanor, and then we're going to hear Eleanor do some wonderful solo piece as well. Other guests on the show today are Jack Holton and also Crispin Lewis, and they'll both be bringing us solo arias as well. And I can see on my Facebook that lots of people are already watching, so it looks like things are go. Technology hasn't failed me in quite the way I was worried, so I'm really, really excited about that. So without further ado, because we have a lot to get through today, I am going to hand over to Eleanor to introduce herself once again and the flower duet, and then I will have the pleasure of singing that with her. The flower duet, as I like to say, is otherwise known as the BA theme tune. It's a beautiful, beautiful duet for soprano and mezzo. It's from a French opera called L'Acmé by composer Léo Delibes. And L'Acmé is a princess. She is the daughter, sorry, it's not a princess, she's the daughter of a Brahmin priest. And she's in a beautiful glade where there's lots of flowers and trees. And she's with her maidservant Malika, which is the role I will sing. And together they're looking at the beautiful canopy of flowers, the waters rustling by, and singing together of love, hope, and friendship. So here's Eleanor, and then we will both sing the flower duet.
Hi, I'm Eleanor James. I recently sang the role of Don Anna in Rogue Opera's production of Don Giovanni, and I'm really looking forward to singing the flower duet with Bronwyn. I hope you enjoy.
Say
So a huge thank you to Eleanor for that beautiful duet. It was such a pleasure to sing that with you again, and I really can't wait until the time that Eleanor and I can sing that together in the real world, in a concert or a gala. So there were some announcements over the last few weeks. Various theatres and opera companies, the Met announced a few days ago that unfortunately they've had to cancel their autumn season, so they're not going to be open for any live performances until at least December. Lots of other companies, big and small, are in exactly the same position. So we're not quite sure what our next live performance in the real life will be, but absolutely we are going to be here every week online, and we're open for business. So my next guest is once again Eleanor.
Hello, I'm Eleanor James, and I'm really looking forward to sharing with you one of my favourite arias, Mniesiczku from Dvořák's opera Rusalka. It's based on one of my favourite Disney stories, The Little Mermaid, but unfortunately with a slightly less happy ending. I hope you enjoy.
fabulous, Eleanor. That was absolutely beautiful. And thank you, of course, to Guy Murgatroyd for his beautiful playing. Thank you to everyone who is watching on Facebook. Hi, Vicky. Hi, Hilary. Hi, Crispin. Hi, Chris. Nice to see you, David. Great to see you, Les, watching all the way from South Africa. Hi, Jack. We have a new fan, I believe, Ada Wood, who's been referred to us by Joe Radin. Thank you so much for sharing, everybody. That's exactly what I love to see as new people on the stream. Hi, James. Hi, of course, to Guy. Great to see Sandra there. Great to see Aviale. Eric is joining us again from Portugal. Fabulous. I know Eleanor's watching, so please do all give her some hearts, some likes, some claps on the messages there on Facebook, because as I said to you in the last few shows, as a performer, we're not used to just being in front of a camera like I am now, or recording something in your lounge room for the live stream as my artists are doing. You know, it's very alien to us as live performers to be performing without a real audience. So this Facebook interaction is a very, very small part of getting that live experience happening online. So thank you so much for everyone who is here and is interacting. Yeah, it's great to see you all. I mentioned also last week that I'm starting a counter. We will have an actual counter on the screen shortly in one of the next live streams of cross-genre fans. So now we are up to 3 heavy metal fans who are now regular watchers of the Rogue Opera live stream channel. So welcome, that's Cameron, Adam and Vicky, or Joe. Sorry, I can't remember if it was Vicky or Joe. Maybe you were both heavy metal fans in your youth, and we can put that counter up to 4. So do keep telling me of your other musical tastes, whether this is the first time that you've actively engaged in a live opera experience, and perhaps what music you'd normally listen to. We love to get all that information. So coming up next, I am going to try one more time to get Guy's Seco 60 to operate. If it doesn't work, then we'll have to post that on Facebook afterwards. But as those of you who've seen them before, it's a fabulous little roundup in 60 seconds of some opera terminologies.
Hello and welcome to Seco 60, where each week I look at a different aspect of operatic terminology in just 60 seconds. This week I'm looking at the term aria. What is an aria? It is a piece of music for solo voice, a song. It can be a standalone item but can also form an excerpt from an opera. Where did the term come from? Songs have probably existed as long as human life on Earth has, much longer than any type of classical music or opera. The name aria began to become associated with songs in the early 16th century in Italy, where songs began to be referred to as l'ere veneziano, the Venetian manner. The term then became attached to the parts of operas that were more lyrical and formal. In the 18th century, they developed into showpieces for singers to show off their technique. These arias were written in da capo form. However, by the beginning of the 19th century, the da capo was stretched to its limit by composers wanting to more vividly portray character development in music, creating new forms like the cavatina and cabaletta. By the beginning of the 20th century, the aria had vanished completely as operas developed into conglomerate masses of continuous music rather than lots of individual numbers. You can hear today we have 4 very different and very original examples of arias which demonstrate the numerous creative options that composers can utilise. That's this week's Seco 60. See you next week.
I'm so glad I got that working for you all. Thank you, Guy, for another fabulous Seco 60. And yes, as Joy, who's watching, has said, we are all learning so much new technology. This crisis has really forced so many people online. We're all having to find new ways to communicate with each other and to work and to do everything, really. So, it's been a big step forward or backwards. Who knows? We're still on the journey. As long as we're still on the journey, that's fine. So my next guest, I'm delighted to reintroduce Crispin Lewis. So he was on the Rogue Opera live stream a few weeks ago, and he did a wonderful Mozart duet with me from Mozart's Così fan tutte, where we sang Il Cuore vi dono, I will give you my heart. Today we're going to hear from Crispin doing a solo aria, and it's from the wonderful, wonderful production of Cinderella by Rossini, La Cenerentola. So La Cenerentola by Rossini is going to be Rogue Opera's next fully staged production. We've been in planning for it. Those plans have been put a little bit on hold. We're hoping to be able to get out and do that live. We have some bookings here in Balham at the Bedford pub and also at the Shelley Theatre in Bournemouth, but we're obviously just going to have to liaise with those venues and just see how everything goes. But sooner or later, we will be bringing you a very special Rogue Opera version of Cinderella, and I just love this opera. I love the story. Rossini has created a story that is a little bit different from perhaps the most well-known version. And in true Rogue Opera style, we're going to find some modern takes on the characters there. And, you know, Cinderella in this story is a really strong character that she chooses true love and, being true to herself over the joys of being a queen or a princess. Crispin's role in this opera is called Don Magnifico. So Don Magnifico is the stepfather of Cinderella. He's the father of the two stepsisters. And in this version of Rossini's opera, he is a comic character, very comic character. He's a bit of a drunkard. He uses his daughters. He's hoping they're just going to be baby factories for him to pump out lots of heirs. And the reason he wants lots of heirs is so that he can live a ripe old age doing absolutely no work and drinking lots of wine.
Hello. I'm going to sing an aria from Rossini's La Cenerentola, which is Rossini's operatic version of the story of Cinderella, which of course we all know. In this aria, I'm playing the character of Don Magnifico. Don Magnifico is the stepfather of Cinderella, and he also has two daughters, who of course we know as the two ugly sisters in Cinderella. Don Magnifico is a rather irascible, pompous figure, and in this aria he's just been awoken from a dream which he's rather enjoying, and he's been awoken by his two daughters arguing loudly, and he comes in and gets very angry with them, and then he tells them all about the dream, which is a very strange dream involving, among other things, a donkey.
miei ramponi femminili. Vi ripudio, mi vergogno. Magnifico mio sogno, mi veniste a sconcertar, mi veniste a sconcertar, mi ripudio, mi vergogno, come son morti di carne, degne fiero un barone. Via silenzio e attenzione, stare il sogno a meditare. Mi sognai fra i foschi il caro, il bellissimo sommaro, un sommaro ma solenne, quando un ratto, che portento, sulle spalle a cento, sulle spalle a cento, gli spuntarono le penne, in aria, ed in cima un campanile cominciarono si fermò, ed in cima un campanile cominciarono si fermò. Si sentiano per lì sotto le campane stindonar, din don, din don, din don, din don. Ci ciucciuli bottomi veriste risvegliar col ci ciucciuli bottomi faceste risvegliar col ci ciucciuli bottomi faceste risvegliar col ci mi faceste risvegliar col ci mi faceste risvegliar ad un sogno s'intracciato ecco il simbolo spiegato ad un sogno s'intracciato ecco il simbolo spiegato la campana suona e vespa allegrezza in casa questa quelle pene siete voi quel calcollo Bleppi addio! Resta l'asino di voi, ma quell'asino son io. Chi vi guarda, vede chiaro, e somaro, il genitor, il somaro, il genitor, il somaro, il genitor. Per divissima regina, lui nell'altra di verrà, e di non annuzzine ne vorrei abbraccerà. Re piccolo di qua, servo, 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 re bambolo di là, servo, 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 e la gloria mia sarà, sì, sì, la gloria mia sarà. Per divissima regina, lui nell'altra di verrà, e di non annuzzine ne vorrei abbraccerà. Re piccolo di qua, servo, 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 re bambolo di là, servo, 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 e la gloria mia sarà, sì, sì, la gloria mia sarà. Ogni piccolo cuore bambola là, ogni piccolo cuore bambola là, e la gloria, e la gloria, e la gloria mia sarà. Ogni piccolo cuore bambola là, ogni piccolo cuore bambola là, e la gloria, e la gloria, e la gloria mia sarà. Terribilissima regina, lui nell'ara di verrà, e di non annuzzine ne vorrei abbraccerà, e la gloria mia sarà. E la gloria mia sarà, mia sarà, mia sarà, mia sarà, mia sarà.
So much, Crispin. That was a real pleasure to hear, and we're going to have a huge amount of fun when we finally get to do that full production of La Cenerentola, Rossini's Cinderella. My next aria for you is from Così fan tutte, which I mentioned just a little bit earlier that we had done a duet, Crispin and I, a few weeks ago. So this Mozart opera, Così fan tutte, translates from Italian as That's the Way Women Are. And the premise of the opera, it's a comedy, but, you know, a deeper message underneath, well, lots of messages underneath. The premise of the opera is that basically women cannot be trusted. They're very fickle, and given the slightest opportunity, they will be unfaithful to their lovers. So the premise is set up by an old man in the opera, Don Alfonso. He's trying to impart this wisdom to two brothers, Gigliano and Ferrando, and these two brothers are in love with and engaged to two sisters, Fiordiligi and Dorabella. So Don Alfonso says, look, you get out of the picture. I guarantee you within 5 minutes, those two women will be fawning all over a new set of lovers. The men, of course, don't believe him, but they say, okay, we'll put this to the test for a bet. And so to set up this fast, they go off to war. They announce very solemnly to the sisters that they've been called up, they've been summoned to go off and fight, and they're not sure when they'll return, and there's this beautiful farewell scene that happens on the shores of the lake. Dorabella does not take this news very well. She has what really can only be described as a bit of a hissy fit. And, you know, her sister and their maid, Despina, are trying to sort of go about life and process this news, and she just says, stop behaving like everything's normal. Nothing is normal. They've gone away. I don't know what I'm going to do. I just feel completely frantic. I'm going to call on the Furies, on all the spirits, to help me in my grief. And I warn you that my tears and my cries and my rage are going to be louder and more frantic and more terrible than all of those cries of those Furies and spirits. So this is the wonderful hysterical aria from Mozart's Così fan tutte, ascostiti smanie implacabile. Take a moment to calm myself down. Very drastic aria. Dorabella does actually, in fact, get over that quite quickly, and further down the track in the opera we get to the duet that Crispin and I sang together, where the brother disguised as the other brother, disguised as lots of... Anyway, sorry. No, he's not. Seduces Dorabella. She's very happy to be seduced. Watch the live stream that was a couple of weeks ago if you'd like to hear that and hear the story of that again. So we are almost at the end of this week's show, and it's my absolute pleasure to introduce a new Rogue Opera guest artist, not new to the company. He sang the title role in Don Giovanni for our production last year, Jack Holton, wonderful baritone. So Jack is going to give us a piece from an English opera by composer Benjamin Britten. And Benjamin Britten is set in Suffolk, in England, in about the 1940s, in a little parochial village. There is a lady of the manor, Lady Billows, and it's her job each year to pick the appropriate young lady to be the May Queen for the village festival. And appropriate means that the young lady needs to be virtuous and have not have had any worldly relationships with any men. So Lady Billows's housekeeper comes to her and basically puts every single name of every girl in the village that they come up with. She has some dirt on them. So really they're ruled out. They're not eligible, they're not virtuous, they're not able to be the main queen. They strike upon a novel idea that perhaps there is one person in the village, Albert Herring, which is the name of the opera, who is virtuous. So if all the other women or young girls in the village are certainly not virgins, then they absolutely know that Albert is, because he's not a very worldly chap, shall we say. This is a new thing that's never been done before, and so they turn to the vicar with his wisdom and his insight to tell them, would this be a good thing? And that's the aria that Jack is going to sing for you, the vicar's aria. So I'm just going to hand over to Jack to introduce himself, and then you'll hear him sing the delightful comic vicar's aria from Benjamin Britten.
Hi, I'm Jack Holton, and I sang the title role in Rogue Opera's Don Giovanni. It was an amazing opportunity to be able to perform the role of Don Giovanni with Rogue Opera because, for me, Don Giovanni is a character who is not entirely good, obviously. He's also not entirely evil. So being between poles like that, there's so much that, as a performer, you can do with it. There's so many places you can take it. There's so many ways to interpret this brilliantly composed music drama as a singer or a director. It's lovely to have been asked to be part of this live stream series with Rogue Opera and to sing to you in this deeply uncertain time for performing arts from Bermondsey, from my flat. So I'm going to be singing the Vicar's aria from Albert Herring by Benjamin Britten. And to give you a little bit of context, at this point, they're all trying to work out who's going to be able to be the Queen of the May Queen at the village festival. And being something of a scholar compared to his parochial village compatriots, the vicar is called upon to give his theological insight into why it might be possible that Albert Herring plays a king of the May instead of a queen of the May, an unprecedented thing in, I guess, 1940s England at this time. And it falls to him to speak, and he realises he has absolutely no idea what he's talking about.
Virtue, says Holy Writ, is virtue. Grace abounding whensoever, wheresoever, howsoever it exists. Rarer than pearls, rubies, amethyst richer than wealth, wisdom, righteousness. Is I but virtuous? Yes or no? That is all we need to know. Is Albert virtuous? Albert virtuous? Yes or no? Yes or no? That is all we need to know. That is all we need to know. That is all we need to know.
So a fabulous round of applause for Jack there. Thank you, Jack, and welcome to your debut on the Rogue Opera live stream. That's certainly not the last that we'll be hearing from Jack coming up in a few weeks. We're going to have a fabulous duet between him and Sam Young, who some of you will remember from a few episodes ago, where he sang the Toreador's aria. So Jack and Sam will be doing a fabulous duet from Don Giovanni, and we have many other exciting things planned coming up. So thank you everybody for watching. A few more people I've seen on the stream. Hello Caroline Gaskin, lovely to have you here. Hi Graham. Hi Rima, thank you for your lovely comments. Hi Veronica. Hi Nikki, hi Jasmine. It's been really, really wonderful to have you all on the stream today, to be able to interact with you in this strange new world of online. And as I said at the beginning, Rogue Opera is absolutely committed to continuing this weekly live stream. We're giving a platform for our artists. We're getting opera out to new audiences. So anything that you can do to help us do that, I would be so grateful. And that is just as simple as watching and sharing. And, you know, if you've got people who are heavy metal fans or rap fans, or, you know, people who generally just like any kind of live performance, but perhaps think they're not opera people, then please do send them one of these live streams, get them to log on and have a look. And we hope they'll have a little bit of fun in any case. And once again, also, if anyone is able to help support the COVID-19 Artists Fund, then all that money goes directly to paying our singers and paying our creative team. As I said, it's been my absolute pleasure. I'm Bronwyn Stevens-Harding, the director of Rogue Opera, and I really look forward to seeing you all next week.